in Miami. I visited my friends Matt and Regina from well, Regina is I think Russian. Regina is I think Russian. And Matt is actually Polish, but he's like the fourth generation Polish that was all four. They came to America like 4 generations ago to Texas, and they built a little town there. And so it was all Polish people, and then some Germans came also and stuff. But pretty cool. Anyway, we had a nice little night. Had a nice little night. We went to have a little bit of food. The food was delicious. With a view over the water in Miami. Come on, I really like. Never ever in my life would have I experienced something like that. I mean, if I didn't know that. Never thought I'm gonna be in Miami. I'm not into big cities. Big cities, they're all the same everywhere, even Miami. Like, honestly, tropical Toronto, but it's a lot of water. Like, I like the water. Like, there's like basins and canals and I don't know, everywhere. It's pretty crazy. I've never seen anything like it. But it's huge. It's humongous. It's really big. It's bigger than what I imagined, honestly. Like, and I didn't know this whole thing, like, it's like Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Palm Beach. It's all like one big, like, settlement. Kind of like Toronto, Scarborough, Whitby. Only they didn't put any fucking effort in Canada to make it, like, nice. Okay, but with a potential like that, with a giant lake next to you, lake front and everything, it would be much nicer. There's no like fucking central planning in Canada. The government is just a bunch of fucking assholes who steal money. They don't do anything. Stuff that was like implemented years ago, it's slowly going away. And nobody wants to admit it, and everybody's still like, oh yeah, it's so great here, it's so great. It's okay. Like, it's okay, I can't complain, and I love my job, I can say. I'm not ungrateful or anything. Otherwise I'd be gone already 100 times. Which, I'm having thoughts about it. Prices are the same here in Miami as they are in Toronto. The houses cost the same, for fuck's sake. I'd like to go into across the beach, or closer to the beach, but I could. There's like a weird situation today going on with the rain. If I'm lucky, I'm barely just gonna get touched by it. And it's kind of very hard to figure out where. I'm looking at the weather all along the coast, and I'm looking at the radar. But it's a little too early to tell from the radar. Storm is going to touch the coast. today because there's some kind of front coming through. And then there's supposed to be like rain on and off in the southern Florida for the whole week. So I said, you know what, I gotta boogie out of here. I'm mobile and not committed to anything. I can just go run from the rain. The only weird, yeah, like I said, it's going to be a little weird today. I'm almost certainly getting a little wet, but it all depends where and how cold it gets. If it's just a bit of warm rain, I'll be fine. Otherwise I might have to do the full-on fucking rain gear situation. I gotta pay attention. So I don't think I have time for the scenic route. I'll come back here. I have like they're nice guys. A guy and a girl. Nice friends. They said I can come anytime I want. And I've had a lot of people that are actually now on this trip again that invited me over and said I'm welcome anytime I want. That's good. I don't fucking know where I'm going. You get my salt. All these places for Lauderdale, Oakland Park, Pompano Beach. But like at the same time, I'm not really into it. For me, a nice day is out in nature, like not cruising these fucking giant cities. Fucking kidding me, sitting here in traffic like an idiot. No way. No way to be. That at home, going to work. Problem is cities have jobs, right? That's why we all end up there. The cities have jobs. Jobs, and if you're a little bit like handy, you come not from a city, you can usually make a good living. But then you're used to also like your whole life you're used to like much lower cost of living. And it's a little weird. When you fucking throw it all on the table, you're in the same fucking hole in the end. You make more money, but you're paying out of your ass for everything. So yeah, my morning thoughts in Miami. It totally reminded me of Toronto. I mean, every big fucking city is the same, man. Only this one has palms and a bunch of water canals. Otherwise, the houses are the same, the roads are the same, the traffic is the same. The beach is probably, I don't know, probably nice. And I don't have time. Like, I don't have about half a day to go 2 miles to the beach. That's what I mean. Like when I'm like in Key West, I was all over the fucking place in one day, all over. I've seen so much. one day. I was like fully engaged. And I could see and move around, right? Okay. Here, give me like this. But 15 minutes already, I made like, not, I don't know, a mile. 1 mile. And people probably looking at me like, what the fuck is this guy talking to? But it's all fun and games. Beautiful city though, I gotta say. If I could pick between here and Toronto, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I would pick here. But if I could pick between here and Toronto, I'd go to the Gulf Coast. Inland, so we have like an hour to the beach. We'll have a couple hours to New Orleans, a couple hours to Pensacola, Panama Beach. I will be pretty fucking happy. With that kind of an arrangement. God, it's fucking traffic. Look it up yourself. But yesterday was funny. Yesterday was quite a day actually, a social day. The most social day I think I had on this trip. First I met those two funny guys at the Keys. Jeff and Jimmy. And that cat Jeff, he was so fucking beautiful. I like that cat, man. Nice people. They mind their own business. I'm super chill. Actually the cool old ones. Sure there was a bunch of druggies along to the right. So the cool old ones are nice. My kind of people. They find me for some reason. I'm not that kind of thing, but I stand out. I stand out in the crowd. Can't help it. It's me, man. Like that's how I am. I'm not putting on performance for nobody. I wear my inside out. People are not used to it. They think they're inside out in the makeup and masks and fancy clothes. Yeah, welcome back, my friendly friendlers. So, after my traffic ramble, if you're still here, I'll give you a little more. Miami is one of those cities, right? It's almost too big to touch. Glass towers, endless traffic, people from every corner of the world, all trying to carve out their own little piece of paradise under the same hot sun. It's beautiful in its own way, but after a while, all big cities start to feel strangely similar. Everything's moving fast, everybody's chasing something. After weaving through traffic for what felt like eternity, I figured the soundtrack maybe needs to change a little. I put on some Bob Marley, j- sang my way out of it with a little concrete jungle, maybe a little bit of rat race, Zimbabwe, and all those favorite songs of the man himself. It felt fitting, because no matter how different the skyline looks, Miami, Toronto, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, the rhythm underneath is often the same. Concrete, pressure, movement, and millions of people trying to find a little peace inside the noise. Eventually, the traffic thinned out north of the city. The ocean came back into view, the air changed, and little by little, the road started breathing again. That's the beautiful thing about motorcycles. Sometimes freedom is not a destination at all. Sometimes it's just finally getting out of traffic. So the plan for the day was actually pretty simple. I wanted to stay ahead of the weather. There was a whole band of rain moving through the mainland, and my idea was to hug the coast as long as possible, hoping the ocean air would keep things clear enough to stay mostly dry. It's one of those little motorcycle travel tricks you learn after enough miles. Sometimes the coastline buys you time. At first, it seemed like it was working too, but the problem with Florida is there's just too much to stop for. Little beach towns, bridges, ocean views, random roadside places that make you curious enough to pull over just for 5 little minutes. And somewhere along the way, I started riding less like a man escaping weather and more like a tourist with a drone and too much curiosity. Eventually, I pointed the bike towards towards Cape Canaveral. I always wanted to see it. Not even as some hardcore space fanatic, but just to stand near a place where humanity keeps throwing itself towards the stars. There's something special in the air there. You can feel the weight of history mixed with the feeling of the future. Old launch pads, salt air, rocket science, pelicans flying over the Atlantic. Only in America can a place feel both completely industrial and deeply mythical at the same time. So I slowed down. I looked for a place where I can fly my drone. I walked around a little too long and completely lost my advantage against the storm. But you know what? I had a lot of fun doing it. Profit rides again, but a stretch of so sorry, this got me a little off guard. But the stretch of Florida's east coast between Cape Canaveral and Miami is a strange blend of paradise sprawl, old Americana, and endless movement. Leaving Miami, everything still feels intense. It was still multi-lane highways packed with traffic, luxury towers rising out of the heat haze, sports cars weaving between tourists and people from all over the world, packed into one long coastal strip. It almost feels less like one city and more like a continuous machine stretching north along North Atlantic. Oh, sorry, along the Atlantic, not north. But slowly, mile by mile, it starts changing. The further north you go, the more the giant skyline begins breaking apart into pockets of old Florida. Marinas, bait shops, faded motels, beach bars, fishing piers, palm trees bent by ocean wind. Places that still feel tied to the sea instead of money. You ride through towns like Palm Beach and stuff like that, and then eventually it kind of quiets down towards the Space Coast, where the atmosphere changes again. And the whole coastline lives in this strange balance between vacation postcard and working coastline. One minute you're passing $1 million condos, the next you're seeing shrimping boats, old pickup trucks parked beside weathered seafood shacks. And all while the Atlantic is never far away. The air smells different there too. Salt, humidity, hot asphalt, sunscreen, ocean wind. Florida has its own atmosphere that sticks to your clothes and riding gear. And as I kept moving north, the storm clouds inland were building higher and higher. But out by the coast, the sky still kept a bit open, just enough to tempt me into slowing down. Every bridge seemed to lead somewhere interesting. Every little side road looked like it might hide another beach or fishing dock worth filming. That's the dangerous thing about traveling Florida on a motorcycle. You can lose hours without even realizing it. And eventually the road starts entering what they call the Space Coast. The region surrounding the Cape Canaveral. Suddenly, I still can't say it right. Cape Canaveral. I don't know exactly, maybe that's it. Suddenly the signs start changing. Rocket museums, NASA references, giant industrial structures rising above flat coastland. It feels surreal after riding through beach towns all day. Like the road suddenly transforms from tropical vacation land into the launch pad of humanity. So eventually I made my way toward, or at least as close as a wandering biker with a drone and limited time can realistically get. I already kind of knew how it was gonna go. A lot of actual launch infrastructure is heavily restricted or sits further inside the protected areas around. You don't exactly just ride up beside a rocket launch pad like it's a roadside attraction. Between security zones, military areas, wildlife refuges, tourists, beaches, and weather, you mostly experience the feeling of the place more than the machinery itself. Still, I wanted to stop there. Some places carry certain energy. Cape Canaveral is definitely one of them. I found a little patch of relatively clear airspace near the coast, launched the drone into the wind, did a slow pan around, and brought it back down before I wasted too much of the daylight and my time before the storm hits. The beach was busy, the wind coming off Atlantic was pushing the drone around a little, and honestly, I still had a long road ahead of me. But for a few minutes at least, I got to share the airspace with a spaceman. And standing there, it really hits you what happened along this coastline. This is one of those places where humanity stopped looking at the horizon and started looking beyond the planet itself. And the Apollo missions launched from here, Saturn V rockets shook this coastline, the space shuttle era lived here, and now private companies like SpaceX keep launching rockets from the same general stretch of land, carrying satellites, cargo, and people back towards orbit again. Okay, I got to fly my drone a little at Cape Canaveral. That's all I wanted. Share the space with the space people. Now off I go. Rushing. It is kind of incredible when you think about it. You ride through sleepy fishing towns, beach bars all day, and suddenly you're standing near one of the most important gateways to space ever built by mankind. Florida really does feel like several worlds stitched together. Part retirement paradise, part swamp, part tourist circus, part tropical dream, part military industrial machine, and part science fiction. What struck me the most wasn't actually the technology though, it was the contrast. Pelicans gliding over the ocean while the rockets launch into orbit. Fishermen parked beside NASA facilities. Old RV parks sitting a few miles away from the launch complexes designed to leave Earth itself. There's something beautifully human about that. We still carry all our old instincts with us. Campfires, beaches, boats, wandering coastlines, while at the same time building machines powerful enough to leave the atmosphere. Maybe that's why places like Cape Canaveral feel so symbolic. They represent that strange, restless side of humanity. The same instinct that makes some people cross oceans or ride motorcycles across continents or point rockets towards the stars. Standing there with my little drone buzzing in the salty wind, I honestly wasn't thinking about technology as much as I was thinking about curiosity. Human beings are just deeply curious creatures. We always want to know what's over the next hill, what's beyond the next ocean, what's above the clouds. The curiosity built ships, then motorcycles, then airplanes, then rockets. And somewhere in this weird symbolic way, the whole road trip started feeling connected to that same spirit. Obviously, I wasn't exactly discovering new worlds on a Harley Davidson with a tiny travel guitar strapped to the back, but traveling does wake up a similar feeling. You leave your routines behind, you follow roads into unfamiliar places, you accept uncertainty for a while. And that's probably why travelers often understand each other, even if they come from completely different worlds. The old sailor, the astronaut, the biker, the backpacker, the trucker. Different machines, same instincts. Of course, while I was getting philosophical near Cape Canaveral, reality was slowly catching up with me in the form of a giant storm clouds building inland. And the longer I stood there pretending to be some kind of budget Slovenian astronaut philosopher with a drone, the more obvious it became I was losing my race against the weather. And then, yeah, after leaving, it was time to stop pretending I was on vacation and actually make some miles north again. By then, the weather system inland had fully caught up. Off to my left, further toward mainland, you could see huge, dark clouds building higher and higher all afternoon. The kind of clouds that completely erase the horizon. But somehow the coast kept protecting me. Not perfectly, just enough. The Atlantic air seemed to keep breaking the storms apart before they could fully form and roll over the highway. Every now and then I'd catch a little drizzle or ride through a quick mist of rain, but nothing really serious. Just enough water to remind me the storm was still out there, stalking the ride. Honestly, it became kind of beautiful after a while. Warm Florida rain, ocean wind, dark clouds inland, the road stretching north. There's something strangely peaceful about riding right along the edge of bad weather, without fully entering it. You stay alert the whole time, watching cloud formations, watching the wind, feeling temperature changes through your gloves and jacket before the rain even arrives. Motorcycle riding makes you pay attention to the atmosphere in a completely different way. Inside the car, you mostly just drive through weather. On a motorcycle, you negotiate with it. And for the next few hours, it felt like the coast and I had some kind of temporary agreement. The mainland could keep the worst of the storm, and I'd stay out near the ocean and keep moving north. And the farther north I rode, the more Florida slowly started changing character again. The giant tourist energy of South Florida faded behind me, and the road became calmer, longer stretches of highway, more marshlands, fewer towers, more sky. And the traffic loosened up a little bit too, which always changes your whole mental state on a motorcycle. Once you stop fighting the traffic, the ride becomes meditative again. The miles start flowing naturally.
stop thinking about the lanes and exits and start thinking about the distance ahead. You can see actually the clouds moving like really fast, and it did break up, and I slowly started to see the blue skies again. That's when the road trip really settles into your bloodstream. Somewhere along that coastline, I think I realized I had officially entered that strange middle phase of long distance travel, where your normal life starts feeling very far away. And your destination feels far away too, so you're just suspended between places. And honestly, I think that might be one of my favorite parts of traveling. Not arriving, not leaving, just existing somewhere out there between the storms, between the state lines, between the ocean and the wind. There's nothing quite like it, honestly. Especially on a motorcycle. Doctor prescribed. Sergeant, what was it? General warning. You gotta ride.
I made it to Georgia. I'm gonna make it to the camp night time, of course, because there's not enough daytime, you know. Like, and I don't like to rush all the time. I stopped a couple places. I tried to avoid the rain a little bit. I lost a bunch of time, and now it's gonna be again like fucking 11 hours to do 1,000 kilometers. I'm not gonna say I rushed too much. I didn't rush too much. I even threw my drone a little bit. But the rain fucked me up a little because I tried to avoid it by all means possible. I went down to the beach and traffic was slow. But anyways, here we are. We made it to Georgia. Have another 120 miles to go. We'll see how it turns out.
So by the final 100 miles or so, the whole ride started changing mood again. Florida was finally behind me. The storm had mostly spent itself inland, and the road north began opening into coastal Georgia. The traffic faded away, the air cooled off a little, and everything started feeling slower and older somehow. The landscape changes gradually out there. Palm trees slowly give way to marshland and fishing towns, giant oak trees, and long stretches of low coastal country shaped by rivers and tides. You can almost feel the deep south beginning to appear 1 mile at a time. And honestly, after the chaos of Miami and endless movement of Florida, Georgia felt like taking a deep breath, especially around Savannah. Savannah has this reputation for being one of the most beautiful and historic cities in the South. But what really struck me was the atmosphere around the coast itself. Slower rhythm, old energy, humidity hanging in the air, Spanish moss swinging from giant trees like something out of another country. And eventually, after a long day of chasing weather up Atlantic coast, I finally rolled into the camp. A little beach town, Barrier Island. Ocean wind and campground waiting at the edge of the Atlantic. Tybee Island. Not a bad place to land after a full day on the road. Well, I made it to Georgia. Ran from the rain in Miami, in southern Florida.
Here we are on Tybee Island, out sticking into Atlantic for the next 5 nights if the weather permits. We'll see. I don't want to stay in the place for the whole day. If I get a day that it rains all day, then that's it. Oh my god, they non-stop like some kind of noise. But okay, we managed. And I learned a little tune for you people. I'll play it somewhere by the coast. Just wanted to use it as a little intro. Georgia. That's nice. People seem polite. I love their accent. I'll go explore Savannah a little bit. Let's see how this place stacks up against all the other places I've seen. Rich history. But it was quite a shock. But I did make it. I took my sweet ass time. I wanted to see at least something. I rode past the States Coast. There, the Cape Canaveral and all that stuff. I don't know how to say it properly. But I wanted to fly my drone there because it was like, oh my god, like I'm here where they like launch all those spacecrafts and everything. I have to do it. Like I have to fly even if it's just a little bit. So I found some park there in Cape Canaveral. I went up in the sky. I don't know, I didn't really see much. Of course, you can't really fly right close to any of this like significant infrastructure or whatever. But shot of the coast down the Cape, and here we are. Then I came here, like then I got sidetracked a little bit because what happened was like the rain was coming from inland, and then the clouds like to break up close to the coast, and so to avoid the really major storms and rain, I went close to the coast. But then I got stuck in the traffic, and it was like it took up like a lot of my time. So instead of doing the ride in like it was 8-hour driving, right, and then in those 8 hours you have to stop a few times, you waste up another 2 hours. I was counting on a 10-hour day. In the end, it was a 13-hour day. I came here at 9 in the evening at night. Didn't know what the hell was going on. But I managed to set up. I dropped my glove somewhere in the camp while I was driving around on my bike to look for my spot. But luckily I went today to check in properly in the morning, and my glove was there. Yeah, my gloves have been reunited. And it's getting nice and warm. It's alright, okay. It was pretty cold at night, holy fuck. I was cold. I woke up from being cold, but I slept good. Okay, that was my report for the next phase.